The film opens with a disturbing scene. An older man is mistreating a young boy. The boy cries, but the man angrily tells him to stay quiet. Soon, they hear noises revealing he has locked up other boys too. He yells at them to sleep, but one boy, Cody, stays awake. He was ripping pages out of a holy book, looking completely out of his senses, almost possessed when told to sleep. Cody's eyes change, something unnatural happens, and he suddenly appears in the corner. In a deep voice, he says, "This is not his name," as the man pulls out a gun. Cody whispers, and the man's mind falls under his control, or whatever is inside him. The scene ends with the man's eerie laughter. The story shifts to a college campus. Carla, a medical student, sits in class with her friend Alice. Alice notices she hasn't slept and warns her. Their professor, Dr. Robert, teaches about fatal familial insomnia, a rare disease where a person slowly loses the ability to sleep. As sleep ends, the body and brain fail, leading to death. He shares a case of a man who stayed awake for 30 days, lost his mind, and harmed his own family. Some call it possession, but he says it's purely scientific. For Carla, this is personal. Her mother died from it now. Her brother Blake has the same disease and is in the hospital. Doctors tell Carla there's no cure left. Blake is too weak and doesn't have much time, so taking him home is better. This breaks her, but she refuses to give up. She recalls an experimental treatment in Mexico. That made patients sleep for an hour, but it's banned here due to risk and no lasting cure. When Carla tells Blake, he understands and jokes to lighten the mood. Though he knows the truth, a pharmacologist, Pat, visits, and Blake spends time with him to distract himself. Carla still refuses to quit. She decides to act. She meets Dr. Robert, who reveals a hidden, underground facility on campus with advanced research to patients with similar, severe sleep disorders are being treated there. He apologizes for hiding this. Robert warns that without treatment, Blake won't survive more than a week. Hearing this, Carla is shaken and sits alone, struggling to decide if taking this risky step is worth it. Later, when she was in her room, Carla picks up a book about FFI written by her father, William. While going through it, she finds a newspaper article saying her parents' deaths were not normal. According to reports, William had taken his wife's life and then his own. The incident had a deep impact on both Carla and Blake. Just then, Alice comes to her room, hugs her, and supports her. She agrees Robert is right, there's no other option, and says she will stand with Carla through the treatment. That night at the hospital, Carla hears Blake talking as if someone is with him. She checks, but no one is there, and Blake wakes up. This confuses her. Soon after Carla, Robert and Alice take Blake toward the basement. Before leaving, Patrick sees them, but instead of stopping them, he offers to help. Being a pharmacologist and Blake's friend, they trust him. They enter a hidden sub-basement facility. Robert says they found this place long ago. Inside, there are patient rooms with two others, Angela and Chris, both suffering from severe sleep disorders. It's clear this is not a normal hospital, but an experimental research site. Blake is moved into his treatment room, where he will stay. The facility has research labs, medicines, and monitoring systems. Patients are kept in isolated chambers. Under constant watch, Carla, Alice, and Pat decide to stay there while Robert visits. Occasionally, Patrick plays board games with the patients to lighten their mood, but Blake suddenly stares into space, and his eye color briefly changes. Something no one notices meanwhile. It's revealed Carla and Patrick once had a relationship that ended for some reason. The next night, Carla and Alice study research papers in the lab. Alice falls asleep, but Carla stays awake. She hears a faint sound near a bookshelf and feels something is hidden. She wakes Alice, and together they move the shelf. Finding a hidden vent with a box inside are a journal and old videotapes labeled with William's name. Carla realizes this is her parents' research. They play the tapes in the video. William says he is close to a cure and has brought his wife Sarah there to continue experiments, as she won't survive otherwise. Robert was part of this research, along with two other patients. Priest Father Francis is also present at first. He jokingly calls it the devil's work. He was William's friend, and Sarah, being a believer, wanted him there, though Robert disliked his presence. Later, Francis returns from Sarah's room, looking terrified. He says Sarah was speaking in another voice, like someone else was inside her. Robert still refuses to take it seriously. The video ends. Carla is left shocked, unable to understand why all this was hidden. She wants to tell Robert, but Alice stops her, saying they should watch all the tapes first. There might be more secrets. They hear someone coming and quickly hide the box. Patrick enters, Alice leaves, and he tries to talk to Carla. But she ignores him and goes to Blake. Angela's condition suddenly worsens, and Carla handles her at the same time. Blake starts acting strange again. He was ripping pages out of a holy book. Just like Cody earlier, his face looks unnatural, like he's not in control. Carla stops him, and he suddenly returns to normal, but remembers nothing, which feels odd. Angela also calms down later. Patrick again tries to talk, but Carla is still upset that night. She can't sleep and feels she may also be showing symptoms. She checks on the patients. Blake seems better, but Angela is scared and says it's evil. Without explaining, next day, Carla and Alice watch more tapes. Back then, things had worsened. The other patients had become violent, while Sarah stayed calm. Father Francis linked it to evil, but Robert and William didn't believe him. Sarah's eye color had changed, and she too was tearing pages out of the holy book, which shocks Carla in the present. Blake is also changing, which terrifies Angela. Carla checks him again. He looks happy, almost recovering, but still can't sleep. Angela, now terrified, tells Carla that Blake talks to someone who isn't there. Crying, she begs to be taken out before it ends her life. Carla tries to calm her, but Angela loses control. Strangely, Patrick is there, but notices nothing. Only Carla experiences this, which confuses her. Meanwhile, Alice studies the journal with strange sketches. Later, Carla sees Blake whispering, while Angela gets up from her bed, as if she's under someone's control. She was clearly terrified. Suddenly, Angela calms down, then uses a chain to take her own life. Carla can't save her, and Blake stays completely calm, unaffected. Now Carla feels something is very wrong with Blake, likely linked to Angela's death. She tells Robert everything. Shocked, he decides to stop the experiment and inform Angela's family. They take her body to the lift, but it doesn't work. Robert tries to fix it, but it won't respond. The stairs are also blocked. Their only option is to call the main hospital. Robert calls, but help can only come in the morning. They are now trapped all night in the hidden facility, with no exit. It feels like something is keeping them there, like an unseen force doesn't want them to leave. With one patient dead and Blake acting abnormal, the tension rises after a while. Carla goes to check on Blake again. Blake asks Carla about Angela, as if he has just realized she is dead. He becomes upset, starts crying, and Carla tries to comfort him. But suddenly Blake grabs her throat and says he will end her life, the same way he ended their mother's. Carla breaks free and runs out. She was scared and confused because one thing was clear: her brother was not like this. Something was wrong. Later, Patrick comes to her. Carla tells him something is very wrong here, and she wants to explain, but fears he might leave again. Patrick gets emotional, and we understand. Their breakup happened because of Blake. Carla was so focused on her brother that Patrick felt ignored, like he had no place in her life. Now he wants to support her. Shows him the tapes. In one clip, doctors question patients. A man acts extremely aggressive, while a woman laughs uncontrollably. But the truth was both of them were mentally unwell. Then they speak to Sarah, who seems calm, but says strange things, like when she's not in her senses. She is with him when William asks, "Who?" She says a name, Idomu, and her voice changes in another clip. William is shocked to see Sarah standing very close to the camera, as if she's looking directly through the glass. This terrifies him, and he quickly calls Father Francis. When they return, the glass is covered with pages of the Bible, smeared with blood, and crying sounds come from inside. No one knows what happened. Robert still insists there must be a logical explanation and says Sarah just needs sleep. Then, a demonic voice replies that she no longer needs sleep. Patrick is stunned by all this, even after the screen goes blank. Faint sounds continue, they increase the volume, but can't understand anything. Just then, Alice arrives. Surprising them, she shows them Francis's journal found with the tapes. According to Francis, Sarah was possessed by a demon that targets people who stay awake too long. It controls them through whispers and feeds on their souls over time. It will become free and no longer need hosts. The only way to stop it is through an exorcism, and the method is written in the journal. Patrick finds this hard to believe, leading to an argument with Alice. She leaves angrily. But Carla is now convinced that whatever is happening cannot be explained normally. She begins reading the journal herself. Meanwhile, Chris also finds Blake's behavior strange. When his device loses power, he starts hearing the same whispers. Patrick finds it odd that no one recorded what happened in Sarah's room, since the last tape they saw ended there. Blake thinks a tape is missing, but Patrick checks the camera and finds another recording. At the same time, Alice, alone, hears whispers through an air vent connected to Blake's room. Carla and Patrick watch the final clip. William, emotional, apologizes to Carla and Blake, saying he brought their mother to save her. But everything went wrong. He goes with Francis to Sarah's room, but she is already outside. Her voice has changed. She is possessed. The demon Atamu threatens that if they try an exorcism, it will kill her. The lights flicker, and Sarah disappears, likely attacking them later. Francis is seen collecting the tapes. Robert arrives, and we learn William is dead. Francis wants to keep the tapes as proof, but Robert tries to stop him. They struggle, but Francis hides the tapes and warns that Robert is behind the murders. Soon after, Francis's screams are heard, showing that he had also lost his life. In the present, Carla and Patrick are shocked and rush to warn Alice, but Alice, now possessed and badly injured, first attacks Carla. Patrick pushes her away, and in the end, Alice uses an electric wire to end her own life. It was quite disturbing. Carla and Patrick panic and try to call for help, but the phone isn't even connected. Robert never called anyone. Patrick says they must escape, but Carla refuses to leave Blake. They go to his room, but he's gone. Instead, they find Chris dead, which terrifies them. Carla feels only God can help and wears a cross. After searching, they find Blake. Carla takes the journal and tries the exorcism, but can't find the exact words. At first, she starts reading, but nothing happens, and Blake moves toward them. Now completely possessed, then she finds the right chant. As she reads it, Blake reacts in pain. Just then, Robert arrives and tries to stop them. Grabbing for the journal, Patrick tries to fight him, but Robert injures him in the stomach, leaving him badly hurt. Carla then throws a chemical on Robert's face, making him scream in pain. She runs to Patrick, still alive, but before she can help, Robert hits her on the head, knocking her unconscious. When Carla wakes up, Robert has tied her up with candles all around. She asks why he didn't take her life. Robert says the more souls Atamu consumes, the stronger it gets, so he needs them. He plans to sacrifice her. He reveals he is the same boy from the opening scene. Man used to mistreat him. And that day, Cody, possessed by Atamu, ended the man's life. Freeing Robert, that's when he learned about this power and believed he could use it. But Cody realized the danger and ended his own life. After that, Robert tried to find Atamu again but failed, though he could still feel its presence. The demon Atamu possesses people who are on the brink of being asleep and awake. Robert tried it on himself too. He stayed awake for several days, but it didn't work later. He learned about Sarah and her illness. To him, she was the perfect host to bring Atamu back. That's why he disliked Francis, who weakened the demon's hold on her. After William died, Sarah ended her own life, and Robert lost Atamu once again. Years later, when he found Blake, he decided to free it at any cost. As he speaks, Carla falls into a trance. She sees Blake with an evil expression, moving toward her, which terrifies her. She wakes up and sees Robert burning the journal, while chanting. Blake also arrives. Carla breaks free with a lighter, grabs the book, and starts chanting. causing Blake Payne Robert also chants, trying to control things, but Carla doesn't stop. Carla was asking God for help, while Robert was loudly reciting from an evil book, causing the demon to keep leaving Blake's body, and then taking control of him again. Then, Adamu turns on Robert, saying no one can control it. Robert insists he wants to bring it into this world, but Adamu takes over him. Robert climbs up and throws himself down onto a sharp wooden beam, dying instantly. Now Adamu moves toward Carla. The chant no longer works. Carla tells Blake he must fight it himself. Blake uses all his strength and finally forces the demon out of his body. Carla holds him and says, "It's over." 3 days later, they are in the hospital. Blake sleeps peacefully, while Carla stays awake, looking disturbed. And it seems she hears faint whispers again. It felt like Carla was about to become the demon's next target. And with that, the film ends. The film's Adamu is a fictional adaptation, not an exact mythological demon. The movie simply takes ideas from real folklore, like insomnia possession, whispers, and soul feeding, and creatively modifies them to fit its story.